Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm Tamiko Pugh, also known as the Empowering Diva. Each week, you'll hear inspirational interviews as well as actionable tips and strategies that you can implement into your daily life to help you live a life of passion, purpose, and potential. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump into today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. Are you the go-to person in your group of friends? Do you have a zest for life and enjoy helping others reach their full potential? Do you feel a calling to make a difference in the world? If this is you, then you may want to consider becoming a life coach. We have a virtual online training starting soon. Our life coach training focuses on helping women who desire to motivate, inspire, and empower other women by using their skills, expertise, and experience to thrive as a personal development coach. Using the empowerment formula, participants will learn step-by-step tools, tips, and techniques needed to attract great clients and build a thriving, purposeful, and profitable coaching business. Get all the details and register at www.tamikolori.com/life coach training. Welcome to another episode of Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm your host, the Empowering Diva, Tamiko Pugh. In today's episode, I'll be chatting with the CEO of Next Level Life and Business, author, speaker, and minister, Cledra Gross. Cledra used her talent of growing million-dollar brands in corporate America to grow her own global brand and now helps women with strategies to create mind-blowing results through increased revenue and living the life of their dreams. She believes increasing the number of women making great money is the way to change the world. Living the Empowered Life community, let's welcome Cledra Gross to Living the Empowered Life podcast. So you've heard her amazing bio. We're going to go ahead and jump into our amazing conversation with Cledra Gross. Cledra, welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here. We actually had an opportunity to talk a few weeks ago, and just throughout our conversation, you were very inspiring. Some of the things that you were saying, some of just a lot of the work that you are doing, even as it relates to women in business. And so I was like, you know what? I got to have her on the podcast. So thank you for being here today.
And thank you for asking me. I'm equally inspired by your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So what I really want to know is about your company, Next Level Life and Business. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that? Who's your target audience and what services do you provide?
Absolutely. Next Level Life and Business is for the top performer, the achiever. What I found is that there are unique needs for women who actually get things done. Most of the work out there was for women, is for women who struggle to reach their goals. But I found as a top performer myself that there is leadership loneliness and pain that comes with success, and it wasn't being addressed in the marketplace. So my target is for that achiever, and she's looking for that group that really understands what comes with making it happen.
Wow. You know what? I love that because I can actually relate to that. I had a conversation with my husband not too long ago, and I was like, I'm at a place in my career where I feel lonely. It's kind of like I don't want to say, I guess so, yeah, you've gone to another level and you feel lonely. You don't know who you're supposed to be around, who you're networking with. And being an achiever, you know what I mean? It gets difficult and it definitely gets lonely. So when you said leadership loneliness, I've experienced that over the past few months as my business has elevated personally and professionally. I've kind of gone to another level. And so I have a question for you since we're talking about that. Like, what would you recommend for someone who was experiencing leadership loneliness?
You have to have community. That's the first thing, and to recognize that leaders are also looking for you. Just like you just said, that you aren't unique in having this experience of birthing this business, growing it, but we all get to this other limit where it's really a thin crowd. And so you have to be intentional about the way you network, intentional about the community that you're around. And, I built that community because I couldn't find it.
I love that. You built it because you couldn't find it. And oftentimes we're in need of certain things and we don't know how to get it. But I love the fact that you were like, you know what? I need this community. I'm going to build it myself. And actually, Khalija, that's how we met. Me, myself, dealing with leadership loneliness, I was looking for a group of women who were high achievers, who were top performers, that I can kind of network with, try to serve them, see how we can support each other. And so we're both a part of an amazing organization, and that's how we met, just because I was having that leadership loneliness. And I'm like, you know what, I know there are some groups of women out here that are feeling the same way.
Absolutely. And you could tell immediately when our conversation, we were just nodding our head like, I get it, I get it, I get it. So that's how you found your community.
Right. Yes. And so I saw something, I believe it was on your website, but you talked about how increasing the number of women making great money is the way to change the world. I thought that was powerful because I do believe that the future is female. And so can you tell us a little bit about, why you think that, like, women making great money is the way to change the world?
One of my favorite quotes is by Coretta Scott King, and she says, Women, if the soul of the nation is to be saved, I believe you must become its soul. And
Ooh.
there's something about the soul of a woman. And don't get me wrong, I love men, but the soul of a woman, our mind and will and emotions, we don't tend to send each other's children to war. We tend to
Mm.
love and nurture. And so that's why I believe as we put more money in the hands of women, then women will put money in the hands of others, in our communities, in our children, in men, in rehabilitation. It's just the way we're naturally wired. And so that quote inspires me to that the soul of this nation, I believe, is for women.
I agree with that. And I just think that is just so powerful that I need to repeat it again, right? When we increase the number of women making great money, that is the way to change the world. I hope you all hear this. That is the way to change the world. So, ladies, we got to make that money.
That's right.
Yes, yes. So, Cledra, what about, you have this quote or this saying that women need to kick glass and rise above what they think is possible in terms of money.
Kicking glass is looking at what are your beliefs about money? Did you grow up thinking money had to be hard, that you had to hustle, and that it was only for a set population instead of for you? It's really examining what do you really believe about money? In an excited state, you'll hear women say, I want to be a boss and I want to make money. But the real belief is the glass ceiling. And that's what I mean by kicking glass. It's taking some intentional time to look at how your childhood narratives around money are actually playing out now.
And I can see that. I can definitely see that. That's where like those limiting beliefs come in. And I remember growing up, and my grandmother would say things like, money is the root of all evil. And growing up, I thought, oh my goodness, like, so if I make too much money, I'm gonna be evil. Like, that's what I'm thinking, as a child. But subconsciously, I believe that those are the things that stick with us. And so we get to a certain space successfully, and we don't want to go any further than that. Do you believe that to be true, or have you seen that happening?
Absolutely. I heard that quote. And I grew up watching my father. He was an entrepreneur and he owned a grocery store, but he worked really long hours. So I had this belief that making money meant long hours and working really hard. And I didn't have the concept of leveraging money, that I really thought that you had to trade time for money. And it's simply not true.
It is not true. And actually, you and I had this conversation recently, and we were talking about scaling our businesses. And I believe you said something about getting your business down to maybe 20 hours a week. And, we were going back and forth with, how we were going to do that. And so that notion of having to work hard, hustle hard, I'm grinding, it just sounds like a lot. It sounds, when I hear people say, oh, I'm grinding, I'm hustling hard, no days off, I'm like, I need a day off.
Oh, many
Right?
days off. Right. Grind, hustle, team, no sleep. I don't want any parts of that. And so that's not what's actually required. And that's that glass ceiling that I'm referencing.
Yes, and I think we all need to know about that glass ceiling. Like, we don't have to hustle hard. We don't have to do the whole thing like no days off. It sounds like a lot of work. And I think that, we can scale back and we can have the life that we want to have. We can work 20 hours a week if we feel like that's what we want to do. And so that's what I want to do. So that's why I love the fact that you talk about the glass ceiling. And those childhood narratives, though, we definitely have to get to a place with even the newer generation, like, they don't have those childhood narratives that are putting stipulations on them.
Absolutely. And you bring up such a powerful point. What we are modeling for our children and for other women is so important that we include how we're taking care of ourselves. That's another narrative that you have to give up what matters to you in terms of your health and your relationships, your spirituality for the sake of money. And it's simply not true.
It is so not true. It's not true. And, one of the principles of living the empowered life, there are 6 principles to living the empowered life. And one of them is to live a life of purpose. So I believe personally that our purpose in life is to serve. And so how important do you think it is, or how important is it to understand your purpose when you're starting a business?
Understanding your purpose is the foundation of the business, because if you lose that in building it, which is another passion that I have, it's why I coach both life and business, because so many women can pursue the money and lose their life. And your purpose includes both. And if you aren't successful in life, then it doesn't matter how much money you're making, and vice versa. I'm certainly not an advocate of a great life and no money either. I believe you can have both, but you have to keep your ultimate purpose in mind as you're building both.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it just takes me back to when I was in corporate America working as a project manager, making over 6 figures. Great job, great money, but I wasn't happy. And it wasn't until I really understood what my life purpose was and I began to serve in that area, that I was fulfilled. Even though I wasn't making, 6 figures immediately, I was fulfilled at the end of the day. I enjoyed what I was doing. And so, one of the things I often say is our businesses can be purposeful and profitable, or you can make money and make a difference. Because I definitely believe in making a difference in whatever it is that we're doing in business. We're here to make a difference. But again, profitable, purposeful, make money and make a difference. That's been my motto probably for the last 6 or 7 years.
I love that. And the only thing I would add is, and also be fulfilled. Because similar to you, I was in corporate America making 6 figures and I just wasn't fulfilled. And so that's another reason I did next level life and business, because all of the marketing out there is make 6 figures,
Mhm.
as if that solves all of your life's problems. And it doesn't. So it's understanding all of you, that you can take all of you into all of your business. You don't have to leave aspects of you and what matters to you out of your life and business.
Yes. And doesn't it feel good to know that? It feels good to wake up fulfilled. At the end of the day, I don't feel like I'm tired, I'm not worn out. I just feel good. I made a difference in someone's life. I'm doing, I believe, what I was called to do. And that's one of the best feelings in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. I remember I was doing a lot of shopping and a lot of traveling because I didn't have the fulfillment. I had the money without the fulfillment. So I totally agree with you. There's nothing like that feeling of, I love what I did today when you put your head on the pillow.
Yes. And then thinking about where we are now as a society, the things that we've been dealing with, 2020, everybody's like, cancel 2020. So much stuff has been happening, from being quarantined to racism and all the things that we've been dealing with. But having a business where you can still make a difference and your business is still thriving in the midst of being quarantined, in the midst of so many things, in the midst of the economy. So just really being grateful.
Extremely grateful, and just knowing that I don't have a need to get away from my life. So many people are talking about, oh, I can't get away. And it's such a great time to really look at, why do I want to get away from my life, and to really change that if that is your situation. Get away by choice, not because you just can't stand it anymore.
By choice, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And, piggybacking off of that, that goes back towards intentional thinking, right? So, how does intentional thinking create the right results in our life?
So many of us don't realize that we wake up with what I call adopted thoughts. You just mentioned the pandemic and the racial issues. A lot of us are adopting thoughts from the media, adopting thoughts from maybe what different things on TV have triggered in us, and we aren't being intentional. And without being intentional in your thinking, you're living a life of default thinking, meaning you're just running the script of what everyone's thinking around you. So I strongly encourage my clients every day to do intentional thinking about their business and their life every single day, and to not just start into your business or into your day without deciding proactively what I'm going to believe today for myself.
That's powerful. I like that. And yes, we do have these adopted thoughts that we adopt from TV and from media and just from people in general. I know for myself, sometimes I have to intentionally not get on social media or intentionally not watch the news. I have to intentionally, and this is something I just started a few weeks ago, being intentional about placing my cell phone in another room before I go to bed, because I don't want, I'm the type of person, I'll wake up and I'll grab my phone. So in order not to do that, I have to literally be intentional about putting it in another room. And then the other thing that I've been intentional about is not touching my phone for at least 20 minutes after I wake up, because I don't want to put all of those adopted thoughts, into my spirit the first thing in the morning or right before I go to bed.
Excellent habit. Excellent habit. Being very intentional. It sounds like about your morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important, because the way you start your day is usually the way your day will go. And so without that intentionality, though, someone will assign the theme of your day. It will be assigned to you if you're not intentional about it.
It will be, yes. And so, speaking of morning rituals, do you have like a morning ritual or something that you do every day to get your day started, to help you to have a smooth transition throughout the day?
Absolutely. So I begin my day reading the Bible. I'm Christian. I do that. And then I take myself through the same thing I take my clients through. I call it mental hygiene, where I dump all of the thoughts that are just roaming around, whether it's thoughts of anxiety. I mean, I'm human. We all are. I empty my truth on paper. And then it's at that point that I decide, okay, what do I want to think about these things? But giving myself that airtime, so to speak, with what's going on in my mind allows me to really just get close to what I'm thinking in an honest way, and then decide, as opposed to just forcing positivity.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we do try to force it, don't we?
It
I
doesn't
am
work.
guilty. I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
It doesn't work. In fact, there's a lot of data now about the downside of the positive psychology movement, and that having the contrast and being willing to explore the contrast is what actually makes us more successful, as opposed to having one speed of look at the bright side.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess there's a difference between being optimistic and then just overly like everything's positive. It's a beautiful day. It's love and light, right? That's
Right.
not love and light. We actually have some stuff going on in the community that we got to talk about and that we need to get, that we need to work on. And so I am very guilty of that. I will say it, both hands up in the air. I've lived my life like that for a long time, trying to see the brighter side of everything instead of being realistic. And so I'm learning, about positive psychology and all of that stuff. But I like that you said what you said about mental hygiene. I haven't heard it mentioned that way, mental hygiene and emptying your truth on paper. I think that is a very powerful way to start your day, emptying your truth on paper. So that's something that I'm going to adopt. So I thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope everyone adopts it. It really makes a powerful difference in the way your day goes.
Good stuff. I love that. So, Cledra, do you have any upcoming events, any initiatives, anything special coming up?
The big thing is my Life and Business Academy, and that's open enrollment now. And for this month, we're basically starting with Happy New Year. Seeing yourself January 1, 2021. So the time of this recording, that would be 4 or 5 months from now. And so we're going to be closing the gap between now and your future self, because whatever you want 4 or 5 months from now, it has to start now. And so I'm excited about that. So that's what's going on now in the Life and Business Academy. It's your future self curriculum and your blueprint for building that future version of yourself and closing the gap in, where are the discrepancies between where you want to go and where you are now.
I like that. Closing the gap between now and your future self.
Yes.
Yeah, that's powerful. I like that. That gives me something to think about. You gave me a lot of stuff to think about, a lot of great nuggets as we've been talking. And I like to take notes because I like to tweet or post these later on. And so you'll see me tagging you in some of these quotes and some of these nuggets that you've shared today. So, do you have a final thought? I want to make sure that you're able to get everything out that you had on your heart today. So, do you have a final thought or a charge for the audience that you would like to share?
I will just say that whatever it is that you're wanting in your life, that it begins with your beliefs. And as cliche as that may sound, it's absolutely true that nothing becomes visible until it's aligned with the invisible. And the invisible is what's internal to you. So don't minimize or underestimate the power of what you genuinely believe. I'm talking about when no one's around, not what you can make other people believe, but what you genuinely believe about what's possible for you. Get real about that and then go kick glass.
I love it. I love it. Nothing becomes visible until it becomes aligned with the invisible. And you closed out by saying, go kick glass. Go
Yes.
kick glass, y'all. Go kick. That was awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I took down a lot of notes, a lot of great nuggets. Thank you again. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Living the Empowered Life podcast. I hope that you enjoyed my conversation with the amazing Cledra Gross and that you were able to draw some inspiration as you continue your journey of living an empowered life. And always remember, changing the next level of results requires the next level of thinking. What if you can make a difference in the world using your expertise, your experience, and your story? When you write a self-help book, you have the power to help other people address their most pressing personal and professional issues while also finding your success as an author. If you're a survivor of life's adversities, if you have an expertise or experience that can make a profound impact on the world, then I invite you to register for my free training, How to Write a Self-Help Book in 30 Days. In this free training, you'll learn the 5 keys to writing a successful self-help book, how to craft an outline, how to create a writing schedule, and actually stick to it. You'll also learn how to brainstorm book ideas using your personal story, your expertise, and your life experiences. This training is free, but you must register at tinyurl.com/author training. So ladies, listen. It's time to discover and live your life purpose. It's time to value yourself. It's time to set goals that are going to move you forward in life. It's time to rebuild your confidence. It's time to fearlessly walk in your authentic power. And ladies, it's time to live the empowered life.